Will they or won't they? That's the question that university officials want to know in regards to a new transportation program and whether or not students are going to respond to it. I'm Trevor Shirley, and coming up at 5, I'll have all the details on that story. Now, despite the recent problems seen by Toyota, this dealership here in Bloomington told me that they've actually seen an increase in sales of about 73% over the past month, leaving some Bloomington residents hopeful about the state of their local economy. The facilities manager here at Pinewood told us that throughout the summer they've had some problems with vandalism, but up until this week they hadn't seen anything like this. Now, Myers says that while no one has lost any money yet in this scam, he says it's important that if you do receive one of these phone calls to contact your local police agency or use the Indiana Consumer Protection Hotline. Part of Kiefer's training also takes him off campus where he'll encounter real-life situations like those that he'd encounter with Sydney. Just yesterday, President Obama finally signed the health care reform bill into law. I'm Trevor Shirley, and coming up at 5, I'll get reactions from local Bloomington doctors here at the hospital about how this bill will impact the health care of you and your family. Golf swing aside, doctors also say that years and years of walking the course can also take its toll on your body. I'm Trevor Shirley, and police need your help in finding those responsible for a string of recent vandalisms, including the destruction of this sign at a local Bloomington car wash. Coming up at 5, I'll tell you what police suspect may be the vandals' motivation. And as of this morning, there are still 2 suspects being held here at the Monroe County Jail in connection with that incident that occurred on Thursday night at the Country Hearth Inn. But police told us that neither has been charged because they've gotten so many conflicting stories. At this point, they're just trying to sort through all the details. Police responded to a call involving an alleged rape that occurred Thursday night here at the Country Hearth Inn on 17th Street. Upon arriving at the hotel, authorities arrested James Brooks and Matthew Martin, both 28. According to authorities, the chain of events leading up to the arrest started here at the local Bloomington strip club Night Moves, where police say Martin and Brooks met the alleged victim.
The 2 individuals offered her a ride home. However, they indicated that they needed to stop by a hotel first, and that was apparently where they were staying. She took the opportunity to use the restroom. However, once she got into the room, they would not allow her to leave.
But according to the victim, it wasn't until the trio left the strip club in the early hours of the morning that things took a turn for the worse. The victim told police that once she met Martin and Brooks here at Night Moves, they left together in Martin's car, but that's a claim that Martin says is patently false.
And then, the whole story that's in the paper said that she came from the club with us. She didn't get in my car.
But despite the conflicting stories from both the victim and Martin, police say incidents like these can be avoided by just using common sense.
You don't accept rides or anything from strangers. Probably should have made arrangements prior to being left at the establishment to get a ride home from someone that she knew.
But this is one case where common sense didn't prevail, and now 2 men are behind bars waiting for their trial, with one still maintaining his innocence. So, bottom line, what do you want the public to know?
I want the public to know that we did not rape this girl. This girl came to our room consensual. The story got twisted. Point blank period, it was consensual.
Now, and actually during that piece, we learned some new developments. They've actually decided to charge James Brooks with 1 count of rape and 2 counts of criminal deviant conduct. But they told us at this point in the investigation, there isn't enough evidence to charge Martin with anything as of yet. And this is obviously a developing story, and as details continue to unfold, we'll keep you informed. Reporting live in Bloomington, Trevor Shirley, WTIU News. As you can see behind me, the checkpoint is in full swing right now, with police doing their best to keep drunk and impaired drivers off the road. Now, earlier they told me that while there might be a few backups and some delays, they say it's generally a quick process that ultimately saves lives. Running into a sobriety checkpoint probably wasn't a part of the evening's plans for most Bloomington residents Friday night, but nonetheless, many drivers were stopped as part of the initiative by Indiana State Police to cut back on the number of drunk drivers.
Regarding the number of DUIs that we have statewide, it's been a goal of the Indiana State Police to reduce the number of intoxicated drivers on the roadway.
Police said the checkpoint, located on South Walnut Street in front of Bloomington High School South, was put in that location given the area's history with alcohol-related crashes.
In March, this area is a high DUI crash area, so that's why we're going to focus our efforts on this area tonight.
All drivers in the southbound lane were required to submit to a visual inspection, where officers then determined whether or not a breath test was needed. And while most were in and out of the checkpoint in no time, others weren't so lucky. During the past 2 years, Monroe County has seen an increase in the number of alcohol-related crashes and deaths, a trend that's prompting more checkpoints like the one tonight. And while the ultimate hope is that these checkpoints would catch no one driving impaired, police know that's an idealistic hope.
Unfortunately, we tend to find a few that are having through our checkpoints.
But they also know there's only one way to be sure of avoiding any hang-ups at a checkpoint like this.
Find a sober driver and avoid this area if you can at all possible.